is Donald Trump's nephew going all in for Kamala Harris. Fred Trump telling us he'll join Harris and her team on a call this week and that he's ready to campaign for her, saying that she is the only person who can move the country forward. Fred Trump is publicly, for the first time, breaking ranks with his family. I really appreciate your time.
My pleasure.
And
Thanks,
I know that you've never publicly endorsed your uncle's opponent before. This is the first time that you have chosen to be public about this and speak out. You've said you'll campaign now for Harris if you're asked, so you've offered that. Can you tell me why you feel so strongly about doing this, and why do you feel so strong about doing it now and you didn't before?
When he was first running, part of the family just thought it truly was a branding exercise, and he didn't think he was going to win. And perhaps he didn't want to win. It was about getting his brand out there. And he did win. And we didn't think he could do much damage. This was new. I mean, he knows the wheels of politics, but certainly didn't think things would turn out the way they did. And now the reason I am endorsing Kamala Harris is things have gotten to a level of craziness that is unacceptable. And I firmly believe that our freedoms are on the line. And Kamala Harris is the only one standing between his divisiveness and rolling back freedoms and democracy.
Do you speak at all to your cousins, or have they responded to this? Don Jr., Ivanka, Eric?
Eric has put out a statement. And he says things about me, and that's fine.
There's a moment, you're young, someone vandalizes Donald Trump's car. Okay,
Right.
So that's the setup. And then about this moment, Fred, you say N-words. Mm-hmm. This is you. I recall him saying disgustedly, look what the N-words did. And then you add, quote, Donald hadn't seen whoever did this.
That's right.
So it's twofold. It's one, that he didn't see who did it. He makes an assumption about who it is, right, what color they are, and then refers to them as the N-word. His campaign says this is a fabricated story. I just want to give you a chance to respond and tell me how this story has lived in your life.
It's the absolute truth. And I remember it as if it were yesterday. He had a black roof. He had a roll of electrical tape, taping up probably the slash was about this long, two of them. And he was pissed. And again, he just assumed it was black people who had done that. Around the same time, I had a bike stolen. I lived in Jamaica, Queens, and 3 young black kids about my age took my bike. I wasn't going to put up a fight. And the police called my mom and said, we found the bike and the person, one of the people who had done it. And she called Donald, because my father, unfortunately, was not around. We went to the police station, and Donald was adamant about the kid being thrown in jail, which I just couldn't take. I mean, he was a kid my age. I didn't want to be responsible for perhaps
between
I was 10. I was about 10. I didn't want to be responsible for this kid's life being changed. Flash forward 17 years or so, Central Park 5, same thing. He has no evidence that those 5 young men were guilty of what they were charged with, yet he puts out a full-page ad asking for their execution.
So would you use the word racist to describe him?
He will espouse beliefs. And by that I mean anybody who he needs, he'll take on, and whatever it is, and then he'll cast them aside. And to me, that's really not the way people should be treated.
So he was talking about Kamala Harris today, and race came up, right? He's talking about whether she's black or Indian, and the entire conversation seemed to hinge upon that. I'll just play one of the main clips for you, Fred.
Sure. I didn't know she was black until a number of years ago when she happened to turn black, and now she wants to be known as black. So I don't know, is she Indian or is she black?
Did that surprise you?
No, I wish she had said she's a woman instead of whether she was black or Indian. No, it doesn't surprise me. He was playing to the crowd, I assume. From what I understand, the reaction was very mixed, which it seems to be happening lately. He's in many instances misreading the crowd now.
Which is, that is a shift from what we had seen before.